Good morning. My name is Isabella Jelly Nunez, and today I'll be performing the Declamation, Removing the Stigma of Talking About Eating Disorders by Gabrielle Bernstein. Have you ever called someone too skinny or commented on how someone was getting bigger? Have you ever called someone anorexic just because they did eat the same amount as you? These are some of the little comments I noticed my peers whispering around me at least 3 times a day. Every day. Today, 30 million men and women in the US alone have an eating disorder. I am one of the 30 million. I suffer from bulimia nervosa. Eating disorders are the eighth most common mental illness. They are a real mental disorder. One I believe is overlooked and misunderstood. I want to make it clear I did not choose to have this disorder, and neither did the other 30 million people who have developed one. I don't want to be ashamed anymore of something I had absolutely no control over. I'm here today to come out of hiding. I don't want another person to stay in the shadows as I did because the shame they feel about having this disorder. Teens who struggle with mental health issues shouldn't have to hide because fear of being judged by society. My eating disorder first started to take control over my life when I was 14. At first, I noticed that a sandwich was not just a sandwich anymore. Instead, this sandwich was 460 calories, 26 grams of carbohydrates, and 2 pieces of bread. But in my mind, those 460 calories would cause me to be nearly double my weight. And those 2 pieces of bread were the devil of all foods because I saw them as pointless carbs. I would see myself staring in the mirror and truly believe I was at least 40 pounds heavier than I actually was. My gym became a place where I pushed my body to its limits for hours every day, just so that I could burn as many calories as humanly possible. By the end of each day, I was so lightheaded I couldn't stand up without getting so dizzy I needed to grab onto something so I wouldn't fall down. The countless times I got out of bed or stood from a seat at school, tried to take a step forward, and suddenly the whole room was spinning. What had once started out as simple calorie counting soon turned into an obsession of possible weight gain. I will never forget the night I was having a family dinner in my favorite restaurant. But unlike the other times I'd been there for the past 17 years, I didn't want to eat anything. I was staring at the warm garlic bread everyone was raving about, and somehow convinced myself I couldn't even eat a single bite. After what had seemed like forever, the waiter finally came and asked for my order. I thought about all the food I loved there, like the lobster mac and cheese I get every time. I remembered how rich, creamy, and gooey that dish tasted. I heard how loud my stomach was growling, begging me for food, but before I knew it, the voice in my head was speaking out loud. Just more water, please. I'm not hungry. Right when those words came out of my mouth, I felt every family member's eyes directly on me. My family all said at the same time, "You have to eat something." Because of the pressure I felt around me and the fear I had of people finding out my secret, I resorted to ordering a side Caesar salad. But no croutons, no dressing, no cheese. So pretty much just lettuce. But soon, my mind took over, and all I could think about was how many extra pounds I would be gaining from that one small meal. After 20 to 30 minutes, I started feeling sick. However, this was my type of sick, the type of sick I felt when I was full. The nausea started to set in, and the next thing I knew, I was in the bathroom with my family texting me asking why I'd been gone for so long. My immediate response was, "I have a stomach ache. I'll be on in a minute." But the truth was, I couldn't keep the food inside me. My friends and family were completely blind to what was going on inside my head. All the negative thoughts and voices talking to me felt like a tornado that just kept twisting in circles. It's not that they didn't care or didn't love me, they just had no idea. At this point in time, I was hiding. I felt completely alone. From that day on, I constantly refused to eat, or worse, refused to keep food inside me. It was no longer just about eating and working out, but now I felt like I wasn't good enough for anyone the way I was. I thought that the second I told someone I had an eating disorder, I would be seen differently, viewed as what I called damaged goods. For over a year, I would go days without eating. Do you know that feeling after you've had that really big burger you've been craving all day and how full you feel after? Well, that feeling of being full was my absolute biggest fear. I was genuinely terrified from the inside out of feeling full. During these moments, my mind was in lockdown mode, and I mentally didn't allow myself to focus on anything but how heavy I felt. Now, I'm aware this probably sounds ridiculous. Like, wow, this girl was scared of feeling full from food. But in my mind, the world was distorted. Food wasn't just food, and my body was not my body. If I even had the slightest feeling of being full, I would go straight to the bathroom, fingers down my throat. I had no control over what I was doing, feeling, or thinking. This disorder took over my entire life. As if throwing up after almost every meal wasn't bad enough, I had an immense feeling of shame. This shame stopped me from getting the help I desperately needed. I thought that I would be seen differently. I felt like no one could possibly love me the way I was because I didn't love myself. I honestly didn't even like myself. I continued to hide my secret from everyone around me. I believe the shame I felt stemmed from how misunderstood eating disorders are and how easily people judge those who have one solely because society doesn't look through the lens of someone who suffers through one. The people around us unknowingly put distortion of body image inside our minds every day, and in that same society then judges what they created. I can't pinpoint an exact moment in time when I realized I am bulimic, and this is not healthy. I just always knew something wasn't quite right. One day, while learning about how much throwing up damages my body, I finally realized it was time to help myself. I couldn't simply listen to the dangers of bulimia anymore. I had to make a change and do something about it. I had to learn to overcome the feeling of shame I felt and still feel. To this day, I still count every calorie in my head before I take a bite. The voice in my head screaming at me, "Don't eat that," has never gone away. Every day, I work to push the negative image of food to the back of my mind. I'm proud of the strides I've made, but it definitely hasn't been easy. For example, a boy recently called me anorexic just because I wasn't hungry at the same exact time he was. Hearing those words, whether I was struggling in that moment or not, only brought back the negative thoughts about how I used to treat my body and sometimes still want to. The countless times I've heard an ignorant person make a joke about someone not eating, calling them anorexic, or making a joke about throwing up needs to stop. It's time we alter our perspectives. How misunderstood eating disorders are by society was the reason I stayed in hiding for so long. If you are someone that suffers from an eating disorder, know that you aren't alone. You can get through this like I've been trying to by confiding in someone. A professional is best, but a friend is a great first step. It's so important to finally say the words out loud. I'm bulimic, I have a problem, and I can get better. I am no longer ashamed of what I've gone through, and because of this, I have become a stronger individual. We need to stop judging from behind closed doors, but instead turn the knob, step in, and educate ourselves about eating disorders. I am starting the conversation today, and it's time we keep it going. 3 years later, I'm 17, and I'm not hiding anymore. Thank you.